Okay, we've gone ahead and installed the outlet in the wall, so the outlet's all set, it's taped, it's in there, and we've got the wires coming into the circuit box or breaker box now. Now there is one more thing that I want to point out. This house is in Chicago, so since we're in Chicago, it's required that that everything be grounded. So we used metal to go from here to the outlet, and every other outlet in the house also has metal. The outlets are always grounded to the metal box and to the conduit. Now, lots of other parts of the country you can use Romex like this. If you are using Romex, you're going to have 3 wires coming in. You're going to have your hot wire, your white wire, which is neutral, and then your ground wire. If you are using this type of material, there is no ground between here and the thing except for this bare wire, the copper wire. So in that situation, you've got to put this on the green block or the grounding block, which is going to be located somewhere inside the circuit box. Because we're in Chicago and because the entire thing is grounded, there is no grounding block in this box. We have hot and neutral. So because there is no grounding block and everything is grounded back to the panel is actually grounded to the ground. So we don't need that, but that's only because we're using the metal and we're using metal conduit. We're in Chicago. So what we're going to do in this situation, we're not using Romex, we're using metal, and it's grounded to the box, so we do not need the green wire, so we don't need the ground wire coming back to the thing. If you're using the flexible stuff, once again, you do need the ground wire and you need to hook it somewhere in the box. Okay, now we're ready to make our connections to our breaker. The breaker is pretty simple. One hot wire goes to it, and that's pretty much all you have to do. So you take your hot wire, comes in from the outlets, coming into the box right now, and you connect it to your breaker. You can put these on either after you put them in the socket or before. I like to do them before. It's just a little easier to do it that way for me. I've already got everything cut to the right length. And to install these, there's different kind of breakers, but this one you have to put it under the tab and then push it in. And once again, I've got to have the power off to do this because it would be dangerous if I didn't. And just pop it in there. Okay, now the white wire comes up and there is a white block on the side, on both sides of the box. So it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to put it right over here on this side. Okay, I want you to get a better idea of where the white wire goes, so I'm taking this up. I'm just taking the camera and going a little closer with it. The red wire connects right there at the bottom of the breaker. Now the white wire, if you can see, there is a neutral strip that comes down. That's the main neutral going into it, and the white wires are all connected to that. And it sets back kind of behind the other breakers. So I'm going to take this wire and basically connect it right back there and get it under that screw and then tighten that screw down. Make a connection right there. Okay, everything's connected, everything looks good. What I've done is I have turned the power back on just for a minute so I can check all my connections. I've got all my connections made here, and I've got a tester plugged into the plug. The plug is actually here in the wall. It's nice and tight. I've got a tester plugged into it. Kick the breaker on, and then I look at the tester and make sure that, one, it's wired correctly. I should have 2 orange lights on one of these little testers, plug-in testers. And these are just simple little testers that you can plug in anytime you're doing electrical work. They come in handy if you need to make sure you've done something correctly or you have any questions about anything you've done. So I'm going to turn it back off. I'm going to shut the breaker back off. Alright, next thing I have to do is pull the extra tab out of the panel. And I've got it sitting down here on the floor just so you can see. We're using all these. This is the extra one that we put in. To take these out, usually you can just go right in the middle of them and twist them back and forth a little bit. And they are on their metal. Just pull the square right out. And then this is ready to put back. Okay, we've got our panel all back on the wall secured. We've got our new breaker in. Everything's closed up in here. We've got the breaker turned on. Whoops. Better turn the living room back on for them. I'm gonna we got our plate on the outlet here. We're going to put our tester in, make sure everything's nice and tight. This should not wobble back and forth when you put it in. And they're all set. All we have to do now is plug their appliances back in, clean up the floor, and we're done and out of here.